In part B of lesson 2.3, the goal is to find the slope of a line, or excuse me, find the slope of the line given a point and a line parallel to it. So basically, we're still going to be finding the equation of a line, but this time I'm going to be given a point and I'm going to be given another line, a line that is parallel to the one I'm looking for. Now, what do we mean by parallel? Okay, I've graphed a couple of parallel lines here. Parallel lines are lines that travel in the same direction. So we see this one here, this one's in red, this one here, this one is in kind of a gray, and they're traveling in the same direction. Parallel lines, it turns out, never touch, okay, as long as they're different. And what you'll notice here is that over here, if I start at this point, let's say 0, -4, I go up and over. Well, in order to start at this point, I could have gone up and over the exact same amount. In other words, parallel lines have the same slope. So that makes it really nice to figure out the slope of a line. You can see an example here. In example 1, find the equation of a line through 3, 5, and parallel to y equals 2/3 x plus 29. I'm not going to do that example. You can check it out on your own. What I'm going to do, similar to what I did on the last video, is I'm going to do the first couple of problems from 2-3b, this cooperative group work. So number 1 says find the equation for the line through the point 3, 2 and parallel to this other line, y equals 1/3 x minus 19. So that's what we have. Find the equation through the point 3, 2 and parallel to the line y equals 1/3 x minus 19. Now, this line here, the only thing we really need from it is the fact that the slope is 1/3. So sometimes I write that underneath. I'm writing that right next to the line right now. But the slope of this line here is 1/3 clearly. If our line needs to be parallel to this one, then our line also needs to have a slope, or m, equal to 1/3. So that's the idea. Now we know the slope. We know that it's through the point 3, 2. So I do the standard procedure. I write y equals, in this case, 1/3 x plus b, and then I plug in the point 3, 2 into here. So 2 equals 1/3 multiplied times 3 plus b. Okay, plug in the 2 for the y, the 3 for the x, and then I can calculate. When I do that, 1/3 times 3 is just 1. So I get 2 equals 1 plus b. If I subtract 1 from both sides, I find that b has to be 1. So the equation that I'm looking for is going to have to be y equals 1/3 times x plus 1. So there you go. That's the whole thing. I get the slope by knowing that parallel lines have the same slope, and then I find the b in the way I always do. Plug in a point into my equation and for the x and y values. So that's it. That's the whole thing. This would be your final answer here. Y equals 1/3 x plus 1. And there we go. So let's do another problem. Let's take this second. Find the equation for the line through point 8, comma, -7, and parallel to y equals 2x plus 5. All right, so we're going to do this in a very obviously similar way to the last one we just did. We look at this equation here. We say y equals 2x plus 5. I want my line to be parallel to that one. That means my slope has to be parallel to this line. So my slope has to be the same. Parallel lines have the same slope. So my slope has to be 2. We write down y equals 2x plus b, and then we can plug in 8, -7 into this in order to get our b. So again, same slope. Notice that we didn't actually use the plus 5 part. In fact, if you'd have put plus 15, all of this would not have mattered. The only thing that matters on this line here that we're given is the slope, is the 2. You could do a plus 15, you could do a plus 5 like we had, it could be a plus 0, right? It doesn't really matter. So here we are, y equals, oops, not y. Let's plug in things. -7 equals 2 times x plus b. So we end up with -7 is equal to 16 plus b. If I subtract 16 from both sides, I get -23 as the b that I need. So final equation of the line, y equals 2x. You can either write -23 or plus a -23. Each would be the same. So there you go. There's your final answer. And that shows you how to find an equation of a line with slope parallel to another line and through a particular point.